Right, so what I'm going to do here is just run off some different vibrato types and techniques. Hopefully you'll have one or two you haven't considered that you can add to your vibrato arsenal. I do have quite a lot of compression on my guitar settings just now just to help with the sustain. Okay, so just jumping right into it, I'm just going to pick this C note here on the G string. Right, first one to consider is the classical vibrato. So this is just where you're kind of rocking. Speed that up a wee bit. Cool. The variation on that is rather than sliding your finger across the fret, you can stay on one point and just kind of pivot, almost like it's a fixed point, and you're just kind of going like around it. Didn't demonstrate that very well. Hopefully my finger will do a better job. So, and you can still hear like a meow. You can still hear the note changing pitch ever so slightly. So those are the kind of two classical approaches that do still work on electric guitar. The next one, these two are kind of essentially the same. There's pulling the string down and pushing the string up. Your hand wants to do this naturally more than it wants to do that. So you have, generally speaking, a kind of stronger pull going this way than you do going that way. The next type of vibrato kind of combines those two, and it's often referred to as circular vibrato, because instead of going kind of this way or that way, it kind of combines them. What you do here is move your finger in a kind of circle shape. For me, it's maybe slightly more of an oval, kind of like that. I tend to go anti-clockwise, and kind of more here and there is what I'm focusing on. You can do it quite a wide one. It sounds a bit weird if you keep it quite subtle. Quite a nice one. You could, you can go clockwise and you could kind of put the force wherever you wanted it. I just find that one falls under my fingers and kind of how my muscles want to move a lot more easily. The next obvious type of vibrato is the old whammy bar vibrato. So what's cool about this one is it will raise the pitch as well as lower it, where the other vibratos tend to just raise it. So you can do quite a subtle one, you can do a less subtle one, or you can do an over the top 80s kind of thing. So on that note, you can use the Jeff Beck kind of garble technique. So rather than actually having to use the whammy bar, you can just use the tremolo block. The thing here is it's mainly just going to move the pitch up. It'll move it down a tiny bit when just before it resets itself to its kind of floating standard position. But it's mainly an upward vibrato again. Another one to consider is the behind the nut vibrato. So you could do that and move here. Obviously, because I've got a lock nut, that's not going to work too well. But what I can do is I can just do kind of string vibrato. So pull the string with my other hand. I'll just do it, that works better than explaining it. So all I'm doing is holding the note here and pulling the string a little bit with my right hand here. It looks kind of flashy, and there is actually quite a good use for this. So what note was I on there? It was on a C. So say you were bending up to a C, and then you wanted to bend up to the D. I kind of struggle to do that with the tension on this guitar, because the note's here, right? But you can bring this hand in, right? Do it once more. And then kind of add a little bit of vibrato. I mean, because if I could get to that note consistently, then adding vibrato is going to be a nightmare. So that's something I'd probably use the bar for. But this is pretty flashy as well. If you're doing a solo, and you do that, you're like, what is he doing? It's amazing. It's like tapping, but not. Two-handed vibrato. And this does segue really nicely into the second thing I'm talking about here, which is putting your vibrato on a bend. So we've looked at kind of the gimmicky way of doing it. The next easier one is using the whammy bar. And a lot of guys will do this, like I think David Gilmour does this quite a bit. Because all this hand has to worry about is staying in place, and then this one can kind of, if you want to make it sharper, or if you want to kind of just go down, or if you want to do the both, or a really extreme one. That kind of thing. The next bends with vibrato, we just go back through them. So you could do circular. I find this one quite difficult, so I tend not to do it when I've got a bend sustained. But you could just sustain the bend, bring it down a bit, bring it up a bit. So I'm kind of going, if you imagine the pitch is here, I'm kind of bringing it below and a bit above the target. Again, using that kind of circular motion. As I say, I find that one a bit tricky to do, but it's probably the nicest in terms of keeping it smooth. Other than the old whammy bar. The next one you can do is the pushing it up vibrato. Or also the pulling it down one. So they've got slightly different feels because one of them's moving the note from its pitch up to a kind of vibrato pitch, then back down. The other one is moving it down from a slight out of key pitch into the correct one. So I'll do it again. So we'd have we like hold the bend and sustain the bend and then push it up a bit, returning it. It's going to sound a bit sour, whereas if you do the bend, dip a bit and return to it. To me anyway, I find that one a bit more pleasing to listen to. You can actually do the classical vibrato while bending as well, but it's pretty difficult. Because the string is likely to kind of slip from beneath your fingers, so you need a bit of an iron grip to do it. And in my opinion, it's not that spectacular a sound that I would bother spending a while to get the technique there, which is just an excuse for laziness on my part there. Right, we now come to the wild and crazy option, because the wild and crazy option is always the best option here. So there's also vibrato with effects, so if you're particularly lazy, you could use a pitch shifter. So I've got one at my foot here, it's just going down a tone, and so on, drop, tune into the whammy setting. So if I was on here, just pushing the pedal down, and it's changing the pitch of it. If you could try and do it quite quickly and get weird. Obviously if I moved it to a more extreme setting, like one of the kind of dive bomb things, so this note is now 2 octaves lower, you get a much further thing. Or if I move it to one of the other settings, like I've got an octave up now, you'd have, sorry, I couldn't resist the vibrato there. So if I do that, if you combine that with a bit of sounds a bit kind of weird, almost kind of cool. There's potential for that to work, I think. The next thing is modulation. So these ones are always kind of goofy and a bit corny, but they're quite fun. So I've got here my kind of flanger chorus pedal, got a rate set quite quickly. So when I push it on, I get like a kind of over the top vibrato. And what I'll do is I'll go through a few different settings with it and try and get one that's maybe a little bit less extreme. So for example, this is quite a slow one. Lower the depth a bit. Speed it up and it gets a bit weird. Then you get into just ring mod territory when it goes too fast. So this is just the modulation effect. I mean, if you play a normal chord, that's not too bad actually, it's a bit kind of new wavy. This is pretty gimmicky. But there is also uses for it, like if you have a big bend and you don't have a vibrato bar, you don't want to do that thing to add in vibrato, you could just slam on a pedal. I know you can get a kind of like almost Hammond type thing out of it as well, where like it sounds almost like a tremolo pedal in that regard. It's quite subtle and you can get away with it, and you don't actually need the vibrato. In fact, it sounds quite bad when you put some on because there's already modulation on top of it. It just sounds out of tune. Cool, as always, hopefully this video has been of some use to you guys, maybe picked something up from it that you hadn't thought before, or even if you've not got something directly, it's maybe kind of sparked something you're like, oh, I could do this instead. Anyway, if you did enjoy the content, please consider to like, share, comment, subscribe. See what I did there? Yeah. If you feel so inclined. Cheers, guys.